Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Of course, it is yours truly, Amaya. You already know the vibes, baby. Grab you a snack, leave your shoes at the door, and come on in. We got some things to get into. Now, I know that in previous videos, I may or may not have mentioned the process of me getting my name legally changed and my gender marker changed. But I don't think I've ever went into detail as to why and what led to that. Well, we kind of know the why, but what led me into doing it at the time that I did do it. So what triggered this whole story time, honestly, stemmed from a post that I saw on Instagram. Typically, the Shade Room will post outrageous topics or stories about pop culture, and as usual, us as being the viewers, we go in and we comment, share our opinions, whatever. For this incident, someone of trans experience commented solely in relation to what the topic was on the Shade Room, and in response, because a few individuals did not like, the woman's response, they immediately went into misgendering her. They were calling her a man. Your opinion doesn't matter because you're a man. You're not a real woman. All those different things. We've heard them all before, especially if you are a woman of trans experience. And so reading that really triggered me and got me into thinking about a time where I was misgendered and how it made me feel. And not only that, how it affected me and caused me to really move forward and get all of my documents and paperwork in order, to be who I am today. There are times when people either intentionally or unintentionally misgender you. If someone unintentionally misgenders you, it's really simple, like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, sir, I made a mistake, or they immediately correct themselves and move forward. Those who intentionally misgender you are doing it to out you, be rude, disgusting, nasty, insult you, verbally assault you. The list goes on and on. Why they do it, I'm not sure. Sometimes people may feel like it's warranted. Honestly, I feel like it's not, but it still varies on a case to case. But ultimately, if someone is presenting as such, then you should just respect them as such. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a time where I was misgendered. And I want to say this was about 15, 16 years ago. At this time, I was going to school in Tallahassee. And if you are from Tallahassee, if you live there now or used to live there, you are or should be aware of a club they had called Baja's. Now, Baja's was on West Pensacola Street. This was a bar that catered to all different types of people. So you would have your urban night. Occasionally, they would have an LGBTQ night. They would have the alternative Caucasian night, whatever. This night was ladies' night, and if my memory serves me correct, it used to be on Thursdays, college night or ladies' night. So at my circle of friends, how we would do is the clubs will have ladies free before midnight. And so our rule that we always went by was that whoever got done first or was at the club first would basically wait in line to hold the spot for everyone else to get there. So like I said before, this was a Thursday. It was ladies free before 12. And one of my good girlfriends was in line holding a spot for us. We get to the club, walk up to the club. There's a line for the men, a line for the women. You have security checking everyone's, body, patting you down, checking your purse, and verifying your ID to ensure that you're of age to be into the nightclub. Apart from that, there is this woman who's sitting at a tabletop with a register. She's there to collect the money and, confirm who's coming in and out. And then you have the promoters who were at the time, I want to say the schoolboys. Like I said, if you were in Tallahassee, then you would know who the schoolboys were. There were like 3 DJs / party promoters, but only one of them was at the door. And so how it went is the guy would call the ladies in increments of 5. And we know how it is when you go to the club, they keep the line staggering so it looks like it's just so packed and everybody's trying to be in there. So the gentleman's side is really long. Mind you, they're not free before 12. I want to say they were at a discounted rate. The ladies were free before 12. So for every 5 girls they would let in, they would go ahead and pull in maybe 2 or 3 guys or so. We're in line. I want to say we have about 15 minutes till 12 at this point. And sidebar, it's crazy now that I can share this story and speak about it, because back then I could not. Like, every time that I would relive or explain a story, which I didn't share that often, it would just get me emotional, especially in with me explaining to my therapist at the time. Like, it definitely was something that triggered an emotional nerve and memory in me. Back to the program. So I'm in line. It was 5 of us. We were the next 5 to go into the club. I was number 4 of the 5. The music is pumping. Back then, Plies was all the rage. So, you know, you hear Plies, and I'm just like, oh my God, we're about to get into the club. It's about to go time. Now, mind you, I've been to this club multiple times, never had any issues. Like I said, this is in the beginning of my transition. Always had a good time, no problems. But this is where things take a turn for the worse. So the promoters like, oh, okay, cool. All right, next 5 ladies, come in. 1, 2. Remember, I'm number 4 of the 5. 3, 4. I immediately put the minute I put my right foot into the door, my left heel was still out. That woman sitting at the tabletop said, hey, it's 10. So the promoter's looking at her, looking back at his watch, like, nah, we still got another 10 minutes. They're good. She went back again and said, no, it's 10 for him. And when she said 10 for him, she pointed at me. So you have the security guard there, the party promoter who's holding the door open, keeping track of how many girls are coming in, and whoever else was privy to her outing me at the door. It was literally crazy. So she was like, no, 10 for him. Now, I want to say I was about 20 or 21 at the time. My first thought was that everything around me just froze. Like, I was mortified. I'm like, why would she do that? I'm like, I've been here a million times. There's never been an issue. Security signed my ID. And my thing is, if you look like a girl, and this is just from experience, they're not checking for the name or the gender marker. If you are passable, they're not looking for that. Because generally, when you look at an ID, you have a line. You're on the go. You're looking at the date of birth, cool, pass it. So at the time, my gender marker wasn't changed, nor was my name legally changed. So I just was getting by off of my looks. And so I'm just sitting there, like, everything around me had frozen at this point. And my initial thought was to start crying. Like, I could literally feel my emotions running through me. Like, I started feeling hot, a little clammy. I knew the tears were on the way, but I had to snap back into it. Like, this isn't the time. Let's just do whatever you need to do, pay whatever you need to pay, and let's just get through it. So the promoter was like, hey, 10. Because he looked me up and down, and he couldn't get it at first, but he's like, okay, 10. I gave her the $10. I didn't make a scene because I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break, sweat, cry, or whatever. At this point, the gentlemen who are in the men's line are privy to it. Security is the door guy, the promoter, and then this female. Just to give you guys context, she was a woman of color. Go figure. So I paid the $10. I go in. One of my girlfriends, I want to say it was either Whitney and Tanya. One of them was like, you good? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Paid it off. I immediately went to the bathroom and went into the stall. At this point, I'm crying because I was just embarrassed. And I could not understand why this woman would go out of her way to misgender me and out me like that. Now, granted, when I look back, to me, I don't think I was as passable. But for that time, I think I was. I mean, I was passing everywhere else, so I really wouldn't see why. And more importantly, why would I need to pass for a woman's benefit? Like, there's no type of correlation between the two. So I at this point, like, I started just having different thoughts. I was having almost a panic attack in a sense, and I started getting in my own head like, oh my God, everyone in the club is gonna know that they're all gonna laugh, they're gonna make a scene. Like, my mind was going places where it shouldn't have went. So I instantly cried. I gave myself a few minutes to pull myself together. And I was like, you know what, I'm in the club, it's whatever. I'm just gonna go in, have a good time. My friends are already out there waiting. Baby, 2 seconds from me walking outside of the women's restroom, another security guard approaches me. And he was like, hey, if you go in that bathroom again, we're gonna have to ask you to leave the club. At this point, I'm just like, I have to get out of here. So I ended up leaving the club, and that night I did cry. I cried not because of the club per se, but more so I still could not process why someone would go out of their way to exclude me or to out me or to just make me feel indifferent. In that moment, before the woman had said anything, I was just like any other girl. I was going to a nightclub. I'm a college student, just literally living my life and enjoying the nightlife. I wasn't causing harm to anyone. I literally was just going into the club. Point blank, period. But I just could not process and understand that at that time. But that incident lit a fire in me and pushed me to never put myself in a position like that again. So for one, I made a vow that I would never go back to that club, and I never did go back. Only because I felt like I was completely disrespected. I was blindsided. And even though it wasn't the club itself, it was just the fact that going in that building triggered a traumatic experience in me. And that woman will never know what she did to me, or maybe she does know, but I don't think she'll ever know the extent of how much that hurted and affected me in both a positive and negative way. So maybe 2 or 3 days later, I was like, I'm never going to be put in a position to where my womanhood would have to be questioned, or my transness, my ability to pass. And so I went to the courthouse, and if you think about it, now we have all of these resources for the trans community. But 10, 15 years ago, we did not have the visibility that we have now. There wasn't gender and name change clinics. There wasn't gender-specific providers, or, places and spaces for specifically trans people. Or there wasn't much resources online where someone of trans experience can get the help or just information that they needed. And back in that time, like, the girls really were gatekeeping. They weren't giving you much information. And most of those older women didn't even have their names changed. They lived stealth lives, went by whatever name they chose, but their given names were not legally changed, or their gender markers were not legally changed. So I went to the courthouse, and I remember speaking to the clerk of court, or the woman at the front desk, and she honestly couldn't give me much information. She was basically like, you'll need to get a lawyer to assist you with getting your name and gender marker changed. And I'm like, I can't afford a lawyer. Like, I'm 20, 21 years old. I'm in school. I did hair on the side. There was no way I can afford a lawyer. But me being the girl that I am and just how determined I was, and how that incident at the club kept replaying in my mind, I took it upon myself to do the research. I went back and forth to the courthouse for about a week and a half, just gathering information on what I needed to do to get my name changed, which would be the least expensive way to achieve this. And one thing about me, and I think about many people in the trans community, is that when we are determined to get something done, we're going to do it, whether it's a procedure, name change, just whatever we need to do to feel comfortable with who we are, we ensure that we get it done. And so I did my research. I'm at the courthouse, flipping through paperwork, scrolling on the internet, just getting all the information that I needed. And I ended up going into, I want to say, the family and marriage office in the courthouse. And I did all my paperwork to get my name legally changed. I submitted the paperwork, went and got fingerprints done at the sheriff's office to ensure that I wasn't doing anything for illegal purposes, or that I am who I said I was. Submitted the paperwork, and about 2 weeks later, they sent me a mailed letter with a notice to appear for court. Really, really excited. But I still, again, was nervous because, like I said, I was doing this all on my own. I had no information or guidance on how the process would be. So I went to court. The judge called out, or the clerk, whoever, called out the case number and my reasoning for being in court. And there were a lot of people in there too, so I was already nervous as well. But at this point, I was like, I don't care. Like, this is for me, and I need this. And I only have one opportunity to inform this judge as to why I am deserving of getting my name legally changed. And so I went to the podium, and the judge was like, hi, are you XYZ, blah, blah, blah. So why are you interested in getting this done? And I, laid it out plain and simple. I was like, I'm a student here, and this is my birth name. However, as you can see right now, how I feel on the inside and what I present myself as does not align with my birth name as well as my given or birth gender. And thankfully, the judge was very understanding. He just wanted to reiterate that, you're not doing this for any type of legal reasons, or you're not trying to hide from the law or anything like that. And I assured him that was not the case. But I do feel like it raises eyebrows or causes stares, or just for me to feel uncomfortable when I'm presenting as a woman and my name being called or gender is saying otherwise, and it just makes things a little difficult. And so with no problem, he changed it, and that was it. I had my name legally changed. I had got my birth certificate, my name on my birth certificate, and gender changed. I had got my social security changed, my license and identification card changed. Everything was changed, and it was probably one of the most happiest days of my life, because I was one step closer to feeling like the individual that I knew I was. I knew who I was on the inside, and so it was just nice to legally be recognized as female. Now, this was about, like I said, 15, 16 years ago, and so it really does make a difference. But I say that all to say, like, when you are intentionally misgendering someone, think about what exactly it is that you're doing. How could this possibly affect someone? Like, why is someone's existence that bothersome to you? Like, I constantly wonder about that woman that night. Like, what about my existence bothered you that much that you felt the need to put my life in danger for $10? Crazy, right? And I'll take it a step further. I went to a friend from Tallahassee. He had celebrated his birthday party. And that same female that went out of her way to misgender me was there. And once again, I had that moment of me um, having anxiety and feeling like sweaty and nervous and almost afraid in a sense. And I don't know. If you ever see this video, I want to thank you because your ignorance pushed me even further to become the girl that I am. I mean, I was always that girl, but I feel like your ignorance pushed me to go a little further and just to take things even more serious. It was unfortunate that it had to be that, but I applaud you, and I do hope that wherever you are doing great for yourself, and I hope that you don't cause that type of discomfort or ignorance, pain, whatever, traumatic experience to anyone else. Someone's existence should not affect you and who you are. It just shouldn't, especially if they're not causing any harm to you. So, if you are a person of trans experience, if you know someone who is a person of trans experience, they do not have their name changed, their gender marker changed, whatever it may be. If they're in need of resources, comment below, send me a DM on Instagram. I respond to all the comments, and I can point you in the right direction of those resources. Either I have the information, and if I don't, I will find it. It's just unfortunate that is just what it is. But now things are better, and we just have so many other resources and options. And I think it's just very important that if you do not have your affairs in order, that you do so. It makes a world of a difference. So no matter what someone says or who decides to misgender me, I'm well aware of who I am as an individual. Yes, I am a trans woman. Yes, I was born male. Yes, I am beautiful. And I'm intelligent. I'm a lovely person. I have family who loves and adores me. I have a career. I have so many other good things going on for me, and that's fine. All those things are facts. But me existing should not affect anyone or make anyone feel uncomfortable to the point to where they feel the need to weaponize my identity against me. I hope you all have an amazing day. Remember to just be fabulous, mind your business, speak up and speak out if you see that someone is being mistreated, and stay tuned for the next video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I love you all. Bye.